I'm gonna tell you guys a story. This is why I don't get in the middle of relationships anymore. Um, Years ago, I went out with a old friend of mine. It was a girl. Back then, I was dating women. Back then, I thought I was a guy. So I go over to her house. Literally, I just split up with my ex. We weren't getting along. Go figure. Me and women, it just never works. And I was helping him work on the patio. So we had a we were years ago we were in love with each other. This is about the time Dad put me on Deep Books program, and some things happened. They threw me in a halfway house from wow. Mom said she couldn't take care of me like that. Well, I was shocked with what I was doing for work. I was working for Dad on the Deep Space program, raised as a Christian, and my friend was a different religion, and Mom did not like that at all. So I'm going to tell this story in the car on my cell phone when I get over here, and then I'll put it over on the camera unless I don't finish it. It's going to take about an hour and a half. A lot happened. Now, my friend was another martial artist. They were both trained by Ed Parker. I was trained by Bruce Lee, and then myself from a lot of stuff that I forgot that I knew over the years in past lifetimes. Once you're a ninja, it always follows you. You get back into martial arts, even if you don't. You do stuff, and the first time you do stuff, you know it. Now, I was being trained by Stuart in a karate studio, American College of Karate, and Mick McGillicuddy still runs the place, I believe. He's awesome. He's a nice, caring, decent person. Guy's really, really fun to work with. I should have stayed. I had some problems. I was out and about a lot. I was tired a lot, and I just didn't have enough energy to go back into the studio. Anyway, I was working out in the ship also. Let me open this window over here. So I'm gonna leave this thing running when I run out and about and do things that you know happen and all kinds of other stuff. This is a interesting story. It's about somebody's life. Not everything that happened over here was good. Mom threw me in a halfway house during this time period for about 3 months. I was in it. I started talking about what happened. One of the guys pulled me aside. He said, "You know, I know a little bit about you and what you've been through, and if you tell these people the truth, you'll never get out of here." Because they were kind of balking and going on and everything else. And they said, "Have anything to say?" I said, "No." So Mom had me do that because the doctor was a Christian. And, for me, that is just the stupidest thing. She couldn't take care of me. Um, I screamed a lot because I was upset. I was scared. Um, I was all there. I wasn't me- mentally incapacitated, but my mom couldn't take care of me, and she didn't want to, so she passed the buck to somebody else. Now, I learned a lot when I was in that place. I ran into the guy that he's on my Facebook page, and he owns a place up there in the Rockies, and it's kind of out there a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right here. Straight through, I paused it, so I had to go ahead and pull the keys from the car and turn it off because I left it running. Uh, what happens when teenagers get involved with each other? The girl always ends up pregnant. Back then, I thought I was a guy, so I was chasing women, but I had my choice on. I could have picked and choose on anybody I wanted to be with. I was just that cute, that smart, and everybody knew my problem. Nobody really cared because my sister had a big mouth. Moved to Grand Junction years later. Ended up pregnant. I didn't know I was being raped, but I did end up pregnant. And my friends from San Diego were like, "Congratulations, Steve." No, I'm going to change my name to Sarah Lee because, like my husband says, nobody does it better. But anyway, so I end up she ends up pregnant. She wanted an abortion. I was no, 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 no. She did it anyway. Her excuse was it's my body. My excuse was it's our kid. We work things out. She goes, you're not even working right now. I couldn't say anything. I was. I was working. I couldn't tell her what I was doing because nobody knew about the program. It was a Saratoga project. So anyway, all this is going on. This is 81, 82. I met her in 79. Yeah, it took a while, but she ended up pregnant. I think she was on the pill, and I think she quit taking it. Um, her dad was a mathematician. Her dad was a bully. He would have killed her too. So she was scared of her dad. I said, "You can live at our house." I said, "I don't like her mom." So that's how it went. You know, you get a halfway house. I don't want to do that either. So she aborts. I get upset and leave. So my relationship went down the tubes. She ended up in the karate studio. She joined a karate studio just to keep her busy. She didn't want to join a dance studio. She's already been through that when she was a kid. So she got into martial arts, ran into Ed Parker, and ran into her husband. Thing happened down at that studio. I think I got mad at me one day when he was talking and everything else. We finally made friends. I got to be pretty good friends with the guy. Actually, I left him. I went down and stayed the night at his house in Vegas. And he said, well, you're going to soon figure out why my marriage didn't work out. Well, he was gay. He goes, I'm more into guys than I am girls. I said, I don't care about that. He didn't know my situation. He spent the night with me. I slept on the bed, but we didn't do anything. And he was like, wow, you're built. I'm like, shut up. Back then I haven't developed. Now I'm a fully developed woman and pregnant. And this is a really cute story. If you guys listen to it, fine. If you don't, then whatever you want to do. But I'm going to tell it anyway. I'm going to post it before I leave. So all this is going on. And the other guy was a well-known martial artist too. You know, I go down to Vegas. And he says, you know, if this doesn't work out with Marina, I'm going to bite the bullet. I was like, dude, you have so much to offer a girl. Even if you're gay, it really doesn't matter. I mean, live your life the way you want. He's still alive. He's happy. Uh, the guy's boy toy didn't work right. He had a hard time with insects. Then again, look at me. Mine doesn't work at all very much. Now, I can get it to work myself, but I get mad at the girl. Laura loved me, she told him. Well, I kind of blew it right there. But anyway, she loved me. She'd tell me we could go to a foreign country to get help if I need to. She was really with me through the whole thing. We're still friends. Her, she's having a hard time. She had leukemia when she was a kid. She was another one down at the shelter, but I don't remember that. I'm sure she was because that's where the doctors were. It's down in that San Diego base. I've got another good friend who I talk to all the time who's been helping me out with my girl problems, telling me stuff and everything else. The rest of it I get on Google. I brought Laura in with the equation to help, a little bit. We talk, and she doesn't have a whole lot of friends. She's brilliant. She's really, really smart. She's really, really fun to be with. She's a great, loving person. Just had bad luck on Glenn. She's single. Her boss was a jerk. They had 57 cats on the compound at one time. He had them all fixed and they all ran wild. But they had a good spread up there. It's like, oh, this is going on. So, back to the pool hall part of this. I'm all playing pool over there. One of the girls was like me, but she was gay. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna comb my hair. I hate when my hair gets flat like this. Okay, so I'm gonna give away first names. I've already done that. So Bob, I call him Blowjob Bobby. He didn't like that too much. I didn't like the guy. He was married, Christian, one of those Christian people using the religion as a get out of jail free card. So he was one of those like that, and it was kind of rough to sit here and watch this guy do this. And I told him, I said, Bob, nothing ever good's gonna come out of this. And I never told her ex-husband. Well, to this day, unless he watches this. But he's happy. He has his friend that he's with and everything else, and they're happy. They're in love and everything else. But the thing of this story is kind of funny. This is why I believe that there's so much more to this world than people know, because everything worked out, and I'm over here with Randy. Theoretically, I should have married Laura. We were both in love. I had a problem. I'm psychic. I had a psychic episode where I was seeing things I shouldn't. And her mom, in the vision, said, take good care of her and lead her to Christ. Well, Laura's Jewish. I'm part Jewish. I was a hardcore believer back then, and now I don't believe that's the only way. And it makes sense the way this story is all laid out, how everything happened, and how the hell did I end up with Randy when I was in love with this girl years ago? You figured I would have ended up with her, right? Well, it didn't work that way. Mom put me in a halfway house. I was over there for 3 months, at least for my, not allergies, but for the, I scratch my head and it hurts sometimes. So I have a little headache, so I take it and it helps with my allergies and stuff. And I shouldn't be drinking this stuff, but I drink chaotic and I usually put it in my other drinks. But this one's about done and these don't last too long. Have another bottle in there. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get my folder ready to go too. Sometimes when I get sidetracked, I forget what I'm talking about, but not very much. I've got to take some water with me, so I'm bringing the water over. I'll put this on the plant. Put that in there. I'm looking forward to this trip. Told the car company I might buy some of their cars, but I'm not going to. I don't need anything else but what I have. I don't know why people think they have to have the biggest house down the street, the most cars, the most money in the bank. It doesn't really matter. We're all supposed to love each other. And that's where the story's headed in the end, too. And yet I get to tell everybody what my explanation between the difference between the man and the woman and how you feel and everything else. It's kind of an amazing story on how my life went this way. So I'm in love with this girl, and I end up not marrying her. Okay, so I'm brokenhearted from the beginning. It was 8 years before I'd even date. I mean, I dated a lot in my time. I was the one everybody wanted to go out with. When I was a kid, everything was there, so I was being hit on by the guys, the girls, my cousins, my friends. And when I went to um, Illinois when I was 15, I was going to stay at Grandma's house, and Dad was there. I mean, Dad was here, and McMahon was there, and wasn't getting along with my mom. So I move over to Illinois and I come back. And Dad says, "Well, why'd you come back?" I said, "I missed Mom." "Why else did you come back?" I said, "I missed you and I missed my friends." "What's wrong?" I said, "Larry." He says, "Larry and I were close." "Well, yeah, we got our thing together, but I had a thing with a few people." And my mom put me on birth control when I was 8 years old. It's just, that is just, that is just, that is just funny. So I ended up marrying my husband. I ended up pregnant, and I'm happy. So anyway, I'll get back to the story. So I end up on. I bought a Yamaha XT600. I had a little MD5. I got hit on it, totaled it, and everything else. Me and my mom got in a fight. I ended up over at my cousin's house. So I just stayed over at my cousin's house. I was drunk. She didn't like it. She told me about it, and I left. I already had a place to go before I left. I mean, um, the dentist, John Joe, we were close. We loved each other. We were really, really good friends. I knew Zimmerman. Yeah, it's one of those things. It is what it is. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I turned around and punched him one day right in the mouth. I didn't hit him hard. I just kind of, popped him a little bit. He swung and he missed. I said, I let you get away with that. Well, I told the parents what had happened, and Brad didn't tell the truth about it. He lives in Florida now, and he's been in trouble for underage sex with somebody and got in a lot of trouble. I think he's in prison now, but I think his mom bailed him out because they have a whole ton of money. But see, well, John Joe, because it really doesn't matter. Oh, we loved each other. We had fun and everything else. And he brought me over for dinner, but he had just did some work on my teeth and messed up my teeth. When he came in, I left. He goes, "Are you that afraid of me?" He goes, "I was going to give you a run of the house." So what he was going to do was see who I was going to end up with. Now, another friend of mine, I'm not going to mention his name because he's still around. Vecino's around too, so he's probably going to hear this. Another friend of mine wanted me to stay at his house so I could play baseball because Mom would never sign my um, thing because everybody was bigger than I was, and she thought I was getting hurt. She didn't know I was faster and stronger than most of them. And I still played. I played football. I played baseball, but I didn't play on the high school level. So anyway, what's just going on? I ride my motorcycle into the base when I was looking at my cousin's house. And I got 5 years on the Saratoga project. So I get in this room with all these brass people, and I was looking. They were all looking at me like I was a cat in a dog's meeting. And I was kind of like, oh my God, these guys are going to eat me for lunch. And I was looking over Dad. I'm looking over these people. I'm looking over Dad. And I was just scared to death. I got 5 years on the Saratoga project, and that's what they were telling me. So I get out of the meeting. I was there at this point. I didn't go home. I stayed with Dad. I was in a limo. He gets in. He shuts the door, and I look over at him. I was raised a Christian. I was a diehard Christian. I believed in Christ. I believed in God, and that was the only way. I'm borderline atheist, borderline Christian, 100% spiritualist because my psychic ability, because I was born a hole in my heart. It was down in the military base, and I almost didn't make it. I had a hard time all the way up until 5. I can't tell you how many times I died between the time I was born and by the time I was 15. It probably had to be a good dozen times. My cat used to claw me in the chest to wake me up, and they're still doing that. I think I had one of those episodes a little while ago. But anyway, to make a long story short, is it all boils down to how I met Randy, how I ended up in my situation, and how many different things could have happened. Because I worked for him for 14 years, and I left because I wanted to go ahead and do something else. Randy's been supporting me, and I have plenty of money. I've got a UBT account, and I'm getting ready to recover today. All I need is a pin. They haven't been giving it to me. I have any one of a dozen attorneys I could use. Randy has an attorney at work that I'm going to use his probably. If they don't give it to me, I'll just call the guy down there that gave me the trust and see if they can't give me a pin for that. Um, I'm the highest ranking officer in the galaxy, I believe. And I'm a galactic federal marshal and a military ninja trainer. So I spent my time in the base. I did my 5 years. I went out and rescued kids and whatever we needed to do. Oh my God, some of those places, some of those things were so bad I didn't know how to handle it. I had this one situation. We have an antimatter gun. I got to fire it once. I only saw it once. And Dad told me about it. He said, you might get to use it. I said, well, you might need it. And we're like, why? Because we can't come up with a solution. I had the same problem. He goes, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to blow up the building. He goes, what are you going to do with the people? I'm going to pull them out of it. He goes, what are you going to do after? I'm going to rebuild it for them. So I told everybody who I was. I told them what I was going to do. They were all, have you ever heard a building that echoed with everybody arguing with it? It's like if you go to Congress, it's big enough that they could argue and you're still going to have some open space. But if you're in a tight building with, let's say, 300 or 400 people for a building that maybe should only have 300 in it, and they're all arguing with each other, that's what I was up against. But anyway, we solved the problem. I pulled everybody out, fired a shot. Now, Dad told me, don't turn it on yourself because we don't know what it's going to do. I'm like, yeah, that does make sense. We don't even know if we can get you back if you do it. And don't shoot anybody with it either. Okay. So I hit the building. It's gone. You can see it. Molecules are just going. It's just eating everything. It's just really cool the way it worked. Yeah, I remember all this stuff. The hardest part was Diana. I couldn't get over her. I still can't get over her. I'll never be over her. I love Randy. It makes more sense in me being with a guy than it does with a girl. Randy's my true love. I don't have anybody else I love more or anything else. You can't really compare love because love is just love. This is easy for me. I'm happy. I don't get upset. I don't have to do anything. And don't have to put myself in bad situations running through kids, running through caves, pulling kids out and watching the kid wave her arm and the cave fall in. I'm like, how the hell did you do that? Just run with it. That was Tiff. Anyway, all that happened. Donald went down to Area 51, and I said, did you see Gabriel? He gave me the purple thumbs up. That's on my French Tonight Furia page. It should still be there. Also, I said something about Trump, Trump run, and he was after me for a while for that. I think he realized I'm not going to do anything with the government. I don't really like the government, but yeah, people don't need to be governed, but they need to be helped and stuff. We're supposed to all love each other, and we're supposed to all help each other. And that's what I figured out through all my things. So I started writing jokes about the year 2000. Well, where was I? I'm kind of tired. I'll get back to it. First joke I ever wrote. Uh, I told my friend, she's still on my Facebook page. I said, when I was born, the doctor slapped my cousin, pet rock ran away, mouse died, nothing worse than a bored truck driver. She said, wait a second. Back then my name was Steve, so she said, Steve, life could be worse. I said, no, he didn't. I'm Dad's kid, never had a pet rock. The mouse didn't die. The rabbit died. Okay, I just moved to Grand Junction. I was in my parents' house. And I wasn't doing well. I wasn't having a good time because I was in between. I was off. I did my 5 years. I said, right, okay, done with them. Okay? So a little while later, 3 months, 6 months out, I can't tell time worth of shit, so you'll see that when you look at me. I don't understand what they did, but I think it was just the way I am and my makeup and who I am and what we are. It's why I think that. But anyway, so I go back to work. I go in Dad's office to see him one day. I got bored. He goes, I've got these files over here. Nobody wants anything to do with them. I can't get anybody to go. Here's this one right here. I look at it. All right, put me in a ship. So I go. I rescued a few kids out of that one. Yeah, we had a battle. It got a little bit ugly, but I'm used to blood and guts and gore. Have you ever smelled Martian guts? That's gross. So anyway, all this all this is going on. This is the way I feel today. This is my fishing hat. Well, the first time I wore this out, it had a small fly and bite me really big. Guy comes up to me, looks at me. Thought he was going to take a swing at me. He was moving his left arm, so I got out of the way, take my hat, and go like this. He looks at it, and I go, "It's a fishing hat." He looks at it, his eyes wide up. He shakes my hand. I go, "Thank you for not swinging at me, because you saw that." I go, "Yeah." He shakes my hand again and walks off. Never saw the guy again. So anyway, I told Mike, the guy at the lake, that I want to go ahead and see in the next couple of days. I said, "Mike, I can't wear that. Someone's going to take a swing at me." Sure enough, first time I wear it, well, he didn't. I had when Mark and them guys were around before I had him arrested, and the government did away with him. His 284 children he abducted. So he was not who everybody thought he was. Oh man, this story is deep. I got to fire a carbine gun at a guy, hit him in the back, knocked him out. Not supposed to fire him within 6 feet. This is when I went and rescued Gabriel. I'll tell you this story, then I'll get back to where I was, if I can remember it. I'll just pause it here and come finish this tonight. I'll run this through. And I'm going to do this in 3 parts. I'm not going to do it all at once because there's too much information. It's just back and forth as I remember, when I'm getting into these stories. So I fire this carbine gun out on one of these planets, and it hits this wall, which was no stronger than, well, yeah, stronger than a trailer wall, but it wasn't as strong as one of our walls. It was different material, but it still, when it hit, it blew the guy forward, dropped him, and he was big imitation of Mark. Only if you looked at his skin, there was a little bit of green tint there. He was over at the pool hall, Grand Junction. I ran into him. We just eyed each other. I said, "How did you make out with that?" Looked off. Nobody knew what they were talking about. But anyway, I came out of there one day and I got shot in the back. And they had some strange people go in there and do an investigation and stuff like that, and everything else. And they turned around and fixed me. And I rolled down a hill in Korea and I got bruises and scratches and all kinds of stuff on my arm. And, it's just, I've been through hell for that, program and everything else. Well, I did 14 years. Donald finally paid me $500,000 a year for it. That's somewhere floating around in one of my accounts. I've got Sarah Amazon's business that I started. Guy ripped me off of my heaters. They haven't called me back about having something in the shop down there. So if they do, I'll realize the heaters are there. But I think the guy that ran the program for me stole my heaters. I think he's also one that hit me up for $130,000. I hit $45,000 on Tesla that I never got to spend because the guy that trained me, Jeff Bezos, told me to go ahead and put it all in at once. And I did, and they didn't like that. So E-Trade and I are in a standstill. I get a tax return that's about $3,500 at the end of the month. I would use that to get my E-Trade started. I'm running money through my UBT account. They tried to steal my car from me. I bought it off of Ally Bank, and they ran this $805.09 deal on a loan for my car, which they never honored. I mean, they ran it for 6 months. I paid everything. They said I didn't make a payment. So they screwed me out of that. And I told them, I said, look, I called them up. I said, look, I'm a marshal. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to refinance the car. If you let me do it, I'm not going to sue you. If you don't give me the car or let me finance the car, I'm going to call the attorney, sue you for $6.4 million and jump up on the bandwagon. I'm going to pull 300,000, and I'm going to badmouth you guys on everything I do. What are you going to do about it? You can't do anything. She said, okay, refinance. I said, thank you. I called her back and I thanked her. I wrote her a thank you letter. I refinanced it. I had 14 offers to refinance it. Steamboat Springs Jeep bought it, so that's where I'm headed down. Is to go over there and take care of my car and make sure they've got their payment. And see what I'm saying about all this stuff that's happened in my life? One, we're all supposed to love each other. It's the only thing that makes any sense. How much energy does it take to hate somebody? It takes a lot. When you love somebody and love everybody and everything flows, everything goes your way. Now, I've got a god awful amount of money that the family made. I'm going to tell you about Jim McMahon, Grandpa. Okay, the first attorney said I was too irresponsible for this kind of money. They wanted to steal it. Legacy's been everywhere. His name was David Chunk. David Thompson was the second one. Took a buyout. Lynn Moody was the third one. Everybody that touched that money has either done something like that to me. Now, let me tell you a story about a girl that I met over there when I was trying to get a job and I needed a reference and I had to use their copy place. So I'm telling this story. I'm in tears. She's all, what's wrong? So I tell her the story. I've been through the whole imposter situation. Um, the guys in my life said they were part of my family weren't. I proved that over the years. A lot of them got taken out by the government, and a lot of them, some of them are still alive. But most of the people that touch that trust are all gone. It's been a mess. The last count was a little over 50,000 people. Now, it doesn't have to do with just the trust, but it's got to do with the chief of gangs and all the people that were in there. Because I've been keeping track of everybody. I would turn around and run it on paper, and I keep track of what I feel, and I get these numbers, and I'm usually right about stuff 90% of the time. Now, my friend Yancy Dalton, who could have been part of the trust heist, but I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. I'm still really good friends with his mom, but he was kind of suspicious, and that's a lot of the reasons why I left over there. But anyway, he passed away, so they say. That's another story. I'll get into that later on. Like I said, there's a lot to cover, but if you think about all the possibilities and everything, fate needs a push to happen. Destiny just falls in place. Randy and I were destined together. Laura and I was more of a fate thing. But I believe it was destiny. Now, what I learned in the Mormon church when I was there is God, magic, whatever it is, doesn't always, the first thing option doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's second, sometimes it's third, sometimes it's the fourth. Now I'm going to stop this in 10 seconds. It's going to be 33, 33, which I think is kind of funny. I got into that number thing, so when it hits 33, 33, I'll be back later.